Hi, I'm Lindsay. I'm Wolfie Stitches over on Instagram and here on YouTube, and this is Flosstube number 7. My last update was in January, I believe, and I did say that I was moving house. I wasn't sure when I'd be filming again, and now it's May, so it's been a little while. But we're in our new house now. We're all settled. I've got my little stitchy spot, and I've started lots of things. So I think I'd like this video to be almost a fresh start. So I'm gonna do a WIP parade. I'm not gonna spend too much time on each one because you have seen a lot of them before, but I just feel like I'd like to start fresh. I can't remember what of these I have shown and what I haven't. I could watch my video back and work it out, but honestly I couldn't think of anything worse than watching myself. It's hard enough pressing record and talking to myself, never mind watching me talk to myself. So if it's alright, I am just going to do a WIP parade and almost a fresh start in my new home. I won't bore you with lots of life updates and things because we're here for the stitching, right? So I'm just going to jump straight in. The first WIP is by Sweet Wing Studio and it's Food, Family and Love. I'm doing the same colourway but I'm using my own fancy floss. And I am stitching this on the 32 count Spiger and I think it's vintage sand. Now I've stitched up to here and then I stopped because I'm not sure that I like the fabric. I feel like it looks a bit dark and dingy. On the picture it looks quite light and airy and I feel like mine just looks quite dark. So I'm not sure about that. Would appreciate any opinions on it. I don't know if it's this big dark flower, that is a flower, like throwing it out. I'm not really sure. Or if it's the fabric. I'm not sure. I did pull the colours that were called for out, and they're almost identical to the ones that I've used, but I'm just not sure. So I've just kind of put it to one side because I don't really know whether I want to keep stitching on it. The next pattern is by a new creation studio and it's called My Soul Finds Rest, and it's this. Now you'll notice this is blue, white and green. Well, I've decided that I really love autumn colours and so I'm stitching it in these. They're a mix of fancy floss. We've got some classic colourworks, cottage garden threads, Simply Shaker gentle art, so it's a real mix. So I'm not sure if you look at the picture and then my threads and you're probably thinking, what? Anyway, I shall show you. And this is stitched on 32 count Belfast colour platinum from Peakside Needleworks, the best place for fabric in the UK. And this is mine. It looks nothing like the picture. It almost like, this is like modern and this you'd probably find in like a 70s kitchen. But for some reason I just love it. I don't know what it is about these colours at the minute, but I'm just wanting everything in them colours. And you'll see that by all of these new starts that I've had. I can write down my colour conversion. I'll probably pop it over onto Instagram. If anybody wants to also do this, you might be looking at it thinking, why has she done that? And that would be fair, that would be fair. Just feeling autumnal. The next one I've got, this is one that I'm not sure if I've shown. I might have done, but this is an RTO kit called Friendship and the artwork is by Amanda Clark. And it's this beautiful blue badger. I am not using the kit aider for that. I am using a piece of 32 count. It's an even weave, I can't remember the colour. It was gifted to me, this piece, from the Diddy Stitcher, but I cannot remember the colour, but that's where I'm up to. I don't know why I'm holding that up. I feel all professional, like I got a board. So that's where I'm up to. I actually didn't realise, so I can obviously see this is a little butterfly. I can see it on the picture, but it didn't stand out on my stitching, but as I've just held it up, it's really obvious now. Those colours are so nice, and I think this fabric works really nice. Look how professional, I even ironed this. I don't know why, but for some reason I just thought, oh, I might iron all my WIPs. But yeah, that's that one. I am using all the kit threads. The only thing I'm not using is the aider that it came with. Is I just thought, since quite a lot of fabric on show, I thought, I think I'd quite like that on something darker. The next one is quite an old one now, actually. None of my WIPs are older than 2022. None of my WIPs are older than 2022. I've been stitching since 2012. But then I stopped for a couple of years, and have I got anything from then? No, I haven't got anything from then. So I stopped stitching for quite a long time whilst I was like having children and just had no time. Anyway, I came back to stitching in 2021, no, early 2022. So all of my WIPs are from then, but I have been stitching 10 years longer than that. This is a Derwent Water Designs, which is now Bothy Threads, Secluded Port. I think I bought this as a kit on eBay, actually. I'm using the kit threads, not the kit fabric. I swapped the fabric out for 32 count Belfast linen in antique white, and that was another one from Peakside Needleworks. I get most of my fabrics from Peakside. They're my favourite fabric shop in the UK. And this is, oh, it's upside down. How embarrassing. Took me 55 minutes to press record because I'm not very good at this. I'm constantly making mistakes. Then I'm showing you my stitching upside down. I should have not bothered. Right, let's try that again. And here is my progress. It's a really, really beautiful pattern. Oh, look at the brickwork. So I've got most of the building work done. It needs some back stitch and there's a little bit missing here, but then it's mostly just sky and water and then the boat. But it's a really lovely pattern. What's that loose thread? Oh, it's from the little windows. It's really beautiful. I love that. My next WIP is Gone Batty by Queen Rose Needle Arts, which is this. Now this was started, anybody that's been watching me the whole time I've been on Flosstube will know that I went through a stage. I started something on 40 count because I wanted to see what all the fuss was about. So I started something on 40 count and I fell in love with 40 count. And so I started everything on 40 count and I restarted a lot of my older projects that were on like 28 and 32 count. I restarted them. And I was like, I'll never stitch on Ada again. I'll never stitch with 2 strands again. I only stitch on 40 count now. And anybody that's been a stitcher for a long time probably sat and watched me and laughed and thought, yeah, all right then, we'll see how that goes. Anyway, So a lot of my 40 count projects are here in this pile, and I don't stitch on them because I don't like 40 count anymore. It's too small, I can't see it. I don't like the feel of one strand in my fingers, I like to feel 2 strands. So Gombati is just sitting here for the foreseeable until I feel like I can do it again. But this is mine. Now the fabric is absolutely beautiful. We've got a fox and rabbit 40 count in colour beetroot, again from Peakside. That colour is amazing. Oh, it looks so good on that fabric. It just really hurts my eyes to stitch it. I should finish it because really I've got just that bit of the back there, and then it's just this, isn't it? Just a couple of motifs there. And Kieran loves this one because the first time that I shared it on Flosstube and I said this is Gombati, well, never mind the first time, every time I say it in the exact same way because my accent's my accent. But Kieran really likes it and he walks around the house going, I've gone batty. Kieran's not from where I'm from. Kieran's from Essex, which for everyone that's watching out of America is much closer to London, and I'm much further up England. So when I did go on to say that I'm never stitching on 28 or 32 again, I'm never stitching with 2 strands again, I gave up a lot of my old whips, which there's a lot of regret there. But I sold some of them, I adopted some of them out. I might have even thrown a few in the bin, which makes me feel a bit sick, but this one thankfully I didn't get rid of. This is Moonflowers by Mirabilia, and she is stitched on vintage country mocha linen in, oh, is she 28 or 32? I'm not sure if she's 28 or 32 count. I think it's 32. And this is what I've got done so far. Using all the call for colours, obviously. I don't think you could, unless you were doing a real special conversion, I don't think you could just use any old colours for these types of patterns. Oh, she's so beautiful. She's a bit creepy looking, isn't she, with no backstitch. All fancy ladies look really creepy with no backstitch. But yeah, so I have actually recently worked on her. I did a lot of this here, and I did a couple of bits up here, but I'd put this away when I decided I was no longer stitching 2 strands for anything, but thankfully I never got rid of her because I actually really love her, and now I only stitch 2 strands. My next whip is a Luca S kit, which is Foxes. It is so sweet. I'm using everything from the kit. I'm using the Ada, which is a 16 count. Using all the colours. And that is where I am. It's so sweet. I love this so much. I've actually, in my house, I was putting up some cross stitch on the walls and some pictures that I have, and I had quite a lot of fox things, and I grouped a few bits together, and then I've accidentally made like a fox wall. So when you walk into the house, the hallway on the right, which goes up the stairs, has got prints of foxes on, cross stitch of foxes, a little origami fox that Kieran made me, and I thought, why have I got so much fox stuff? I should be the foxy stitcher, not the wolfy stitcher. Or wolfy stitch. I should be foxy stitches, not wolfy stitches. Because I have quite a lot of fox whips as well. I've obviously got a bit of a thing for foxes. But yeah, that's that one. Oh, it looks so lovely. I love that one. I really like the Luca S kits. I feel like most stitchers go through the same stages of stitching. So you start cross stitching, you buy yourself a kit and you stitch it, and then after a while you realise that other people are buying just a pattern and then they're buying threads and fabric. So you start out doing that, and then you discover fancy floss, so then everything's fancy floss, and then you discover beads and metallics and everything that, and then you discover higher count fabrics. And I've gone full circle now. I've gone back to loving kits. Really enjoying stitching on kits at the minute. This is a Merejka one. I actually won this in a competition. Was it a giveaway on Instagram? I think it was a giveaway on Instagram. This is called Wild Heart. Wild Spirit. A wolf, not a fox. And this is on 16 count Aida with the kit fabric and the kit colours. And that is how much I've done. I did obviously start in the middle, and then I ended up coming down because I was worried about these margins. This fabric just did not seem big enough, but it is. That's the very bottom of the pattern, so there is a good 2 inch really. Oh, it is lovely. It's not white Aida, this, it's blue. Not sure why, because it's a full coverage pattern. Oh, look at him. He's so beautiful. I say that about everything that I stitch. Oh, I love it. Oh, it's so beautiful. But it is. My next WIP is another one from the 40 count graveyard. This is Our Forest Nimble Birds. I love this pattern so much. I'm actually thinking about restarting it on 28 count. Just don't even let me go through the stages. This is on a 40 count and it is Fibre on a Whim. I can't remember the colour, but it was from the Patchwork Rabbit Fabric of the Month, and I will have it written down on my Instagram what colour it is. It's an incredible pattern. The feathers, I don't know whether you'll be able to really see the feathers. They are absolutely incredible. I love that pattern so much, but I just can't seem to see. It's a really beautiful pattern. Owl Forest are easily my favourite designer. I have got so many Owl Forest patterns. I've got quite a few on the go, and I've got quite a few kitted up ready to go. My next WIP is by Silver Creek Samplers, and it's it's just Shadow of Your Wings, and it's this one. I am pretty sure I'm using all the called for colours, all the fancy floss. Whoops, lost one. They're really beautiful colours. All of those. And I am stitching it on 32 count even weave, and I think the colour's just lilac. It's just one that's available everywhere in England. It's washing out a little bit there. If I hold it back a bit more, you'll see the colour a bit better. It's a really nice colour. I just thought it'd look, I thought the colours would look quite nice on that. If I hold them up, I feel like they look nice on that. Anyway, it's only a very small start. My next WIP is the Jenny Beans Halloween Sampler by Shakespeare's Peddler. I love that pattern so much. Cannot remember the name of this fabric, but oh, isn't it so beautiful? This is on 40 count though, so that's why I've not finished it, because it's on 40 count and I can't see it. It looks incredible on this fabric, doesn't it, if I say so myself? I love this fabric. It's probably one of my favourite fabrics that I've ever chosen. I really want to finish this because I do love it so much. But I'm just having such a hard time with 40 count. I can't remember the last time that I stitched on 40 count and enjoyed myself. I did recently stitch on a couple of my 40 count projects, but it felt like such a chore It's because I couldn't see it, and it just, I don't know. I just don't know how to explain myself. Not that I need to, but my next WIP is the Owl Forest Kingfishers. This is the chart. So at the time when I started this, which yesterday Instagram actually told me that it was 3 years yesterday that I started this, and I thought, oh, that's embarrassing, 3 years on, I've still not finished it. Anyway, at the time I hated the colour yellow. Don't ask me what my favourite colour is now, because I shall tell you it's yellow. So I really regret taking all the yellow out of this. These are the colours I went with. So the yellow I swapped for, let me pull it out, purple and pink. It does, to be fair, it does look really nice, but I wanted to stitch all of these bird ones, and there's a hummingbird one and it's purple and pink, so now it won't look right because I've done purple and pink on this, and I'm not unpicking it. I'm tempted, but I'm not. I'm actually more tempted to re-stitch it on a higher count, no, a lower count that I'm happy with, and I can stitch on, and I can just finish this whenever I go back to 40 count. I don't know, but it's beautiful. This is 40 count and it's Zweigart, and the colour is Silver Moon. It's not that far off really. It's a little bit here, finish this motif, and then a little bit here. It's really not that far, but again, 40 count. My next WIP is another kit, and another Merejka kit, and this is the fox. I love this. Another fox. Why so many foxes? Why do I love the foxes? In this range, collection's more sounds correct. There's also this one. I don't have this one, and there's a pheasant. I don't think it's, no, there's a pheasant, a deer. I can't think what else there is. Oh, there's a hare. They're all really nice, and I'm using the kit fabric, which is 16 count Ada, and it's the Rustico one, and I'm using the kit threads, and this is what I've done. Not very much actually. Oh, beautiful. Beautiful. My next WIP is, I don't know if you say this Riolis or Riolis. Riolis. I want to say Riolis, and it's Magic Owl. So this kit doesn't use cotton, it uses a wool acrylic blend. A few people have done videos on these, like reviewing them and showing you them, so I won't go into too much detail about them, but if I just, oops, if I hold them slightly, you can see that they've got a bit of a fuzz to them. It's very weird to work with, very weird. I wasn't sure whether I was going to love it or hate it, but I don't mind it. The problem I do have with this is the chart. If I just hold up a section, that's the chart. You don't get a black and white one, so I can't mark off where I am and where I'm not. And if I show, like, there's a lot of colour changing, and I don't know, it's just, I have tried to photocopy it and make a black and white version, but some of these, like the greens and the blues in the background, they don't have symbols, they just have colours, so then I lose that on the photocopy version, so I can't stitch it because I can't mark off where I've been. I have got the black and white. Let me just fold it up so that nobody thinks I'm sharing the pattern. If I fold it up, look, like, I can't work under these conditions. I can't see what I'm doing. Anyway, let me show you where I'm at. And it's a shame because it's stitching up so beautiful. This is 14 count 5 count Ada, and this is where I'm at. It's a very strange colour Ada. I've never seen Ada this colour before, but it is stitching up really beautiful. I just can't stitch it because I can't keep track of where I am. It's a really awful pattern, and it's such a shame because it's a beautiful pattern, and I don't mind working with the threads. They're really thick. If I fold this up a little bit, you can see like how chunky they are, and they like stand up a bit more. But I do like working with it. It's just the pattern. I just can't get on with the pattern at all. I can't tell where I am or where I'm not, or where I've been or where I'm about to go. My next WIP is an RTO kit, and it's Bear and Raspberry, which is this. I am not stitching this on the kit fabric, which was 14 count Ada or 16 count Ada. Oh, look at that fox one in the corner, that's beautiful. I am stitching this on a 32 count Picture This Plus. I can't remember the colour now, but it'll be on my Instagram. On this, it looks a bit darker on the screen than what it is. It's a bit more... Oh, that's washing it right out. Never mind. I'm stitching it on here. I think it looks beautiful. This is looking a lot darker and a lot more mottled than it does in real life. This fabric is really washing out and looking a lot darker. It's a lot more vibrant and purple. But anyway, he is beautiful. I absolutely love him. And I love him on the purple. If I hold up the kit threads against the fabric, I think it looks great. And I'm sure I've recently used the Ada that came with this kit for something else I can show you in a little bit. But that is Bear and Raspberry. That colour really is washing out and going really dark. It is a lot brighter and nicer than that. Oh, in my opinion it is anyway. You might be looking thinking, why has she done that on purple? Someone's got to try the weird things, haven't they? My next WIP is a Little House Needleworks Salt Box Scriptures. One of my lovely friends bought me this. I was originally only going to stitch this top left for like a Christmassy kind of decoration thing, but I think I'm going to stitch all four now. I'm stitching them on the 28 count Vintage Country Mocha Linen, and that is what I've done. It's only a small start. I'm not using the called for colours, but I am following the colourway just with my own fancy floss subs, which are in there. I do really love that one. I've got so many that I love that I have a hard time picking what I want to work on. My next WIP is one that I found on Etsy. So there's no let me show you the thing. So it's the Lord's Prayer. There's no designer listed and there's no title of what it is, and when I bought it off Etsy and printed it, somebody's scanned in a magazine because I can see the page numbers. So somebody is just scanned in a magazine and selling it. So I don't know whose design it is. And I thought like, oh, I'll have to try and find out where it's from, what magazine it's from. And I'm struggling, to be honest, because I'd like to credit the actual designer of it. But this is the pattern. I'm stitching this in 3806, which I'm nearly out of. I'm stitching this for my youngest child, my daughter, on 32 count antique white linen, and this is where I'm at. Now this is a lot, it's a bigger pattern than I expected. There's a lot of stitching in here. I don't think I really realised how big of a pattern it was, but her favourite colour is pink, so it had to be pink. But it's a nice start. I just need to pick it back up. My next WIP is Twisted Pumpkin by Carriage House Samplings. I did start this on 40 count, so it hasn't been stitched on for a very long time. These are the threads I chose, same colourway but my own threads. This Cottage Garden thread grey is so nice. What's that called? Oh no, not Ohio Sky, that's the white one. Cloudy Day has such a nice grey. What a shame it's in this project bag doing nothing. Yeah, this fabric, Fibre on a Whim, colour brick, 40 count, and it's from when I was in the Patchwork Rabbit Fabric of the Month Club. I miss that. I miss that so much. And this is what I have done. Oh, this fabric is delicious. This is such a beautiful fabric. It actually looks a little bit more brown on there. It's a bit more orange in real life. Oh, it's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. I really should try again. I should try again with this. A few people on Instagram have suggested a magnifying light, and I probably should just do that, but I haven't. I think I'd be too overwhelmed by the choice of knowing what's right and what's not, and what if it doesn't help and then I've wasted the money. So just anyway, my next WIP is a Mill Hill Button and Beads Winter Series, and it is the Blue Jay. I am not stitching this on perforated paper. I don't like that stuff. I don't trust that I wouldn't break it because I feel like I'm quite rough. So I've just got some 28 count linen, and that's where I'm at. I do absolutely adore Mill Hill. Oh, I love Mill Hill so much. I started this a couple of years ago when we went camping, and I stitched it on the way to the campsite, and then that night I sat in the sunset stitching away, and then I came down really ill that night, and the next day I couldn't move. I was in bed, like, do you know when you're just really ill and you just can't function? I was actually crying because I felt so cold. I was really, really unwell, and I've not stitched on this since because when I look at it I feel sick. That's weird. Make that make sense. My brain's obviously associating it with that time. So I've never been able to pick it up since then. I actually UFO'd it for a while, and then recently I was going through, well, it was when I moved and I was going through all my stitching stuff, I came across it and I thought, oh, it's such a lovely pattern. I should try again. So I've put it all back into a WIP folder, back on my shelf, and I keep thinking I might feel like picking that up, but every time I try, I feel really sick looking at it. Anyway. My next WIP is by Rosewood Manor. It's Crosses of the Kingdom. Let me get them ready to show you. So this is the pattern, and I definitely underestimated how big this is. I am not stitching in the called for colours. I'm doing the whole thing in one colour, and that colour is Cottage Garden Threads, number 415, Bonnie Brook. I ordered quite a lot of various blue threads until I found the one that felt like the right one, and this is absolutely the right one. It's easily my favourite blue. I am stitching this on a 32 count linen. I can't remember the colour. Wait, here I am. This is the full width of it. I went all the way across to see how big it was going to be, and then I think I'm going to start going down, and then fill-in. I love this so much. That blue, oh, look at it. I'm panning this across, but I can't actually see the screen, so I don't know what you can see. Oh, it is so beautiful. I love this. I should pick this back up. I should pick this one back up. It really eats up the thread. Whew. I did buy, so I have 3 here, and I'm sure I've already used one of them up. Yes, I have. It's there, the empty one. So I've used that one up, and I think I only had 2 more. So I ordered another one, so that had 4, and the other one that came, I ordered it from a different website, and the dye lot was completely, it was wildly different. And so I had to go back to the place I got these ones from and order another one and just really hope it was the same dye lot, and it is. I don't think they have the dye lot numbers on, but I could tell it was different, and this is, they're definitely the same. They look identical. My next WIP is the Stitching Cabin Coastal Summer Band Sampler. I think this was from 2024, and it's this. So each section was released, I think it was over 9 months. I'm using the called for colours, except this silver thread. You can't see it on the pattern where the silver thread is, but there is silver thread charted, and instead of silver thread I have used silver beads. And I do have plans on this, so currently, I'll show you in a second, but currently I'm down to these crabs and I don't want to stitch out anymore. And I don't know whether to just leave it as a WIP, and I might, in a couple of years, I might suddenly, oh, I love that so much, I'm going to go back to it. Or do I cut it short and have a finish and display it? And where I'm up to is the crabs, and I think I could quite happily forego all of this and just put the seagull layer from the bottom on. I'll show you where I am, and then you can give me your thoughts on that. So this is where I am at. It's washing the colours out a little bit, but you can see where the beads are instead of silver thread, and I think they look really nice. But yeah, the crabs are not quite finished, they need their legs. And these houses are not quite finished either. But I did just think, rather than stitching the whole thing, because I don't want to, so unless I just leave it in my project file and just hope in the future I might decide I want to, I'm not sure. But the seagulls and the waves at the bottom would probably bring it down to about here. And I just thought, well, I love this design, and if I can just finish it here, I can finish it there, and then I can display it then. I don't think I quite appreciated how long it would be, and I think I'm just kind of finished with it. It's lovely. I absolutely loved being part of this. I'm sad that I fell behind, really, because I think if I'd have kept up each month, I probably would have just stitched the whole thing, but I feel a bit outfaced by it now. So I don't know whether to just cut it short, use the seagulls, finish it and move on. Maybe let me know what you think on that. That is a stitch on even weave. I'm pretty sure that's 28 count. But I used all the called for colours from the stitch along. The colours were so beautiful. I considered substituting the colours. So I pulled out some colours that I really liked. And then I thought, actually, let's look at the colours it's charted with. And then I pulled them out and I thought, oh, I have to stitch it with them. There's no way I can stitch it with anything else. Look at them. They are so beautiful. I love them. And the beads, they're silver, but not like strong silver. It's like a see-through kind of silver. You won't be able to see them right. They are a Mill Hill 02010. But yeah. Let me know what you think I should do with that. My next WIP is a Mirabilia Christmas Elf Fairy from the Fairy Holiday Collection by Nora Corbett, and this is her. Oh, she's so beautiful. I'm stitching this on 32 count Belfast Summer Khaki from Peakside Needleworks, and here she is, what I've done so far. This has got whisper thread in, and I haven't used whisper thread for like 12 years or something. No, 2013 is when I used it. And what year are we now? 2026. Oh, I'm not thinking about how long ago that was because I'm going to be sick. Where's life gone? Where did life go? My next WIP is another Luca S kit. This is Tenderness. More foxes. Oh, it's so sweet. I'm using all the kit threads. I'm using the kit fabric, which is 16 count Rustico Ada, and it's only a small start. This is a bottom left start, so it's this section. I don't know why I started there instead of the centre. Oh yes I do, because I thought if I start in the centre I'm going to stitch them foxes, then I'm going to put it away and never look at it again. Whereas I thought if I go across and do all the boring background and then treat myself to the foxes, I'll probably finish it. So that's Tenderness. Another fox one. My next WIP, I'm not sure I'm going to keep this one. I started it and I struggled on the colour of the fabric. It is 28 count Mystic Lugana Picture This Plus. Let me show you the pattern first. It's Cute Snowy Owls by Cute Patterns by Maria. And I did not have any fabric this colour, but I did have this colour, and I thought, oh, that might look quite effective on there. Anyway, it's really hard to see it. I maybe ought to go get my eyes checked, eh? It's a beautiful fabric, but I have a real hard time seeing it. Even though it's 28 count. It is a Picture This Plus, and they are quite tight, aren't they, Picture This Plus? I don't even know which direction this goes in or anything. But when I got it out today, I looked at it and I thought, I should probably restart that on a lighter fabric, because then I can stitch it, because I really love it. The pattern's so cute. My next WIP is in, look at this bag. I had a go at making myself a little project bag. I haven't got the see-through vinyl stuff that my mum uses, so I just did this. I was really happy with it anyway. This pattern is from my bobbin, so I cannot tell you the designer because I cannot read Russian. No. Anyway, I saw this and just fell in love with it. Oh, look at them colours. Oh, I want to live there. I love it. It did have it in a square or the circle. I chose the circle because I thought, oh, that would be nice, getting rid of all them corners of stitching. These are the colours. They're a bit messy. Doesn't matter how many times I like brush them through. They get so messy being in that bag. So they're the colours. Really nice colours. And I am stitching this on 16 count white Ada. Someone go back 3 years and tell 2023 Lindsay that she's gone back to Ada. This is what I've done so far. There's no back stitch on this yet, but it does have a lot of back stitch on, so that house will look a lot more prominent. It will stand out a lot more. And yes, there is something on my fabric. It looks like two things actually. Oh no, that's a bit of thread at that side. It does have a little mark here on my fabric. I'm not sure what it is, but it will be covered by stitching, so I'm not worried. So this is one of my focus pieces at the minute. I absolutely love it. Oh, I love it so much. I think that's what I'm going to focus on the rest of this week actually. It's really beautiful. I actually love the website My Bobbin. There are so many patterns on there. I could just buy everything. But then I don't have enough time to stitch all of these things. Next up is 100 Owls by Owl Forest. I have started this twice. So this is the first start I did. And it's 28 count pole stitches in colour Nessie, I think. Nessie. And this, let me show you what I've done so far. So this is what I've done so far. Now, first of all, this fabric looks a lot darker on the camera than what it actually is. It isn't that dark. It's a lot nicer than that. I don't know why it's showing that way. Anyway, this is what I've done so far. Now, the problem I have is I did this when I had just discovered fancy floss. So I stitched this guy and I picked all my fancy floss out for him. And then I did these guys and picked out all my fancy floss, and then I did this, and now I'm thinking, well, I don't know what fancy flosses I used here, so to stitch the whole design I'd like it all to tie together. I don't want to just use, like, stitch each one as a standalone pattern and eventually they're all together. Do you know what I mean? And I thought, well, what shall I do then? And well, I'm still there. What do I do? When I did start stitching everything on 40 count, I did actually start this again on 40 count, and I was just going to stitch both of them. Anyway, I'm not stitching the 40 count one anymore. It was only an extremely small start, so I've not lost anything by not stitching on that anymore. But now I am just like, well, I don't really know what to do with this because it's not going to tie together. Or will that matter? I know, like, for example, I know what colour this blue is, but like when it comes to like the greens and things, I'm not sure what colour these greens are, and I feel like I can't only have this green here. I feel like I need it to tie in elsewhere. And then I thought, what if I look at what threads it calls for and get them, but then these are going to stand out to me. They're going to stand out as their own threads. But I absolutely love this pattern so much. I've loved this pattern ever since I saw it. And I thought to myself the other day, should I just restart it? Third time lucky. Should I just try again? But I'm not gonna. I've got too much to start. I'm just gonna leave it again and think about it for a little bit longer. I could sit and really, really try and work out what colours I've used. But even so, you know, if I've stitched this with a handful of fancy floss, whatever fancy floss this green is, if I order it again, it's not going to be the same because fancy floss is a different dye lots, and it was years ago I started this now. So it just kind of sits there wanting to be loved and not getting any love. That's really dramatic, isn't it? Anyway, I'm not sure what to do about the owls. Do I just carry on and just stitch each section in whatever colours I feel? Do I restart it and choose set colours and get enough of each of those colours to do the whole thing? Do I do that? I'm just not sure. My next WIP made me cry last week. I got this pattern off of My Bobbin, and it's a Russian designer. The whole thing's in Russian, so I couldn't tell you which section of this is the name of the pattern and which section is the designer or anything. I've got no idea. But this is the pattern. I fell in love with this. I bought it, I printed it, and I kitted it up, and I started it like within an hour. Maybe 2 hours actually, because getting all the threads out took a bit longer than that. Here are the threads on these cute little vintage, I think they're cigarette cards. I see them everywhere, like when you go in your charity shops and stuff, and I had loads of these like animal ones, so I turned them into floss drops. So cute. And those colours are lovely. Anyway, since my youngest was born, I haven't had just like solid time to sit and stitch. Like not just like, you know, like a solid day. And I know parents don't really get time to themselves like that, but I see people going to retreats and going to stitchy days, and I'm like, oh, I would love a day stitching. Anyway, last week I said to Kieran, I want to have a day, once I've dropped all the kids at school, it was on when I had a day off and I wasn't working. I said, I want that day where I don't do any housework. I want the kids to go to school and I want to sit and stitch until school pick up. So I did. So we're talking, including the night time, we're talking 6 hours of stitching. 6 hours of stitching on these bears. And then I took the bears out the frame and I stitched on the fabric the wrong way. And it wasn't going to fit. And I cried. I was meant to stitch on the fabric portrait and I stitched on it landscape. It's 32 count Belfast antique white linen. And I was meant to stitch on it this way, not this way. And it probably doesn't look like much for 6 hours. But it was quite, there's a lot in here. There's blends, there's 1 strand full cross, 1 strand half stitch, 2 strand half stitch, 2 strand full cross. There's a lot going on, but it isn't going to fit. And I was really upset because it was the first time in 4 years that I'd had that solid time where I wasn't just having a couple of stitches here and there because then I've got to go hang the washing out, or I've got to go get tea sorted, or, do you know, it was nothing. I sat and did absolutely nothing except stitch. I did post on Instagram and ask for advice, and I got quite a lot of advice, which I was really grateful for. If I look at this picture, if I was to crop the picture, I would need to crop it there at the bottom and there at the top. Now that is still an extremely beautiful image. So do I just stitch that? But this is the image that I fell in love with. You know? Somebody did say, why don't you just stitch a rectangle around these guys? Like, crop a rectangle of these guys, I should say, and have that as like a small, and then restart this. So I'll be stitching the bears twice, but the rest, and I think that's what I'm gonna do, because I do love the pattern as a whole. I'll just show you it again. So I could just stitch the bears, is it this side? Yeah, stitch the bears here and have that as a small, or do I go to the line I said, which would take it to about here, and then same here? Might be able to go a little bit higher there, I'm not sure. Oh, I was so upset. Such a silly mistake to make. There is a lot of backstitch to go on this bear's face, so if he's looking a bit weird, there is a lot of backstitch to go on him. But yeah, so it's full image versus what I'd have to crop it to fit. I did think, what if I just crop it and then I'll just stitch it again if I feel that upset that I'm missing. I mean, realistically, all I'm missing from the top is that, and then all I'd be missing from the bottom is that. So with that in mind, is that still a complete enough image? I I think looking at it on the screen there, I think it might be, but I'm just not 100% sure. So if anybody has any opinions on that, if I hold it a little bit closer. Oh, look at the colours of the trees. Oh, it is so beautiful. It was such a quick start from the moment, like, often I'll buy a pattern and I'll be like, oh, I'm really looking forward to starting that. But this, I bought it, I was like, I'm starting this right now. I am so in love with this. Anyway, next up is something I actually UFO'd, but I've pulled it back out and I shall tell you why. So this is Pond Water Nymph by Bella Filipina, and it's part of their Treasures range, which they are smaller than the usual Bellas. It is a beautiful pattern. I started this on a Paul Stitches Stardust 32 count even weave. This fabric is oof, it's beautiful. Here is my fabric and my start. This lighting is really making these fabrics look a lot more dramatic than what they are. It is not as dramatic as that. It is softer than that. That makes it look pretty wacky. But here is my start. So I got this pattern and I worked like quite a bit, and then, well, there's been just a lot of Bella drama around it. The issue I had was they started doing them in digital patterns, which is what this was, and I thought, oh, that's fantastic. I love a digital pattern. I've got my iPad, which I bought specifically for cross stitch patterns, so I used markup on there. I thought, oh, brilliant, I can do it from a digital pattern rather than having to order a paper pattern, wait for it to arrive, and then have to make photocopies of it because I don't want to mark the original. So I bought it as a digital pattern, and when you get it, it's password protected. So to read it, you have to put the password in every time. But you can't put it onto markup or pattern keeper or anything. You can't upload it because it's locked with the password. So I emailed the Bella Facebook page, well, messaged the Bella Facebook page and said, I wonder if you could help me. I'm trying to get your digital pattern onto my markup app so that I can work from it. And they said no, that they are locked to protect from piracy and copying, and that they wouldn't be able to assist me. And I thought, oh, okay, all right. It's, in my mind, that defeats the point of a digital chart, because how are we working from them and marking them off if we can't edit them or use them, or, you know, how are we marking off? Because maybe they're thinking a digital file is a good idea because you can buy it online and print it yourself, but my thoughts are a digital pattern is that you can work from digitally. Now, without your cross-stitch programs, how on earth are you working from it? So that bothered me, and I thought, maybe I'm overreacting here, but I don't really like that. Anyway, so I did some deep diving on the internet and worked out how to unlock the PDF myself. Did that, saved a copy without a password on and put it onto markup. So that's when I stitched this. It just bothered me though, because the thing is, I and any other person could log onto the internet, and I'm pretty confident I could find any Bella Filipina pattern and download it illegally. I feel fairly confident, I know my way around the internet to be able to do that. If I wanted to do that, I would. I didn't want to do that, so I paid him and I got the pattern. And I think that putting the passwords on them doesn't protect them from being stolen at all, because they're all out there to get. all it does is prevent stitchers from being able to use them properly. So it doesn't inconvenience the bad guys, it inconveniences the good guys. Do you know? I don't know, maybe I'm overreacting a little bit with that, but I don't know, it just bothered me a bit. Because if somebody wants to download a pattern illegally, and if somebody wants to share a pattern, they're going to do it regardless. And the people that do that sort of thing know how to get around things like passwords. So yeah, it just bothered me. So anyway, I got it onto my markup, I stitched on it. Then obviously there was all the drama with the siren style, which I'm not going to get into because I wasn't part of the style. So it didn't actually affect me directly. A couple of people I know were quite upset by what went on with that. My issue I took from the whole thing was seeing how they responded online to the stitching community. There were some quite snarky comments left to stitchers that were clearly just upset, and some of the responses that Bella Filipina gave I didn't think were very kind, and I didn't like the way that they went around it. And I don't know, just the whole thing just made me think like, do you know what, I'm not sure about these guys. They made some incredible patterns. Anyway, so for a long time I didn't really want to stitch on it because I kind of thought, I don't really want to. Like, I feel like as a company they kind of left a bit of a bad taste in my mouth. But then I've also thought, well, what difference does it make to them now if I stitch on it? And I do love this pattern. So, and I love this fabric. So I'm just going to stitch on it. My next WIP is P is for Princess by the Sweetheart Tree, which is absolutely adorable. I picked this up on a de-stash table at my church's stitching exhibition. Our stitching group did an exhibition at the church and we had a de-stash table, and this kit, it was a full kit, and this is the tiniest little start ever. I'm thinking of having this for car stitching, which is why it's in its frame and it's had the tiniest little bit done. But yeah, it's almost pointless showing it, but I did want to show this because look how cute it is. I'm stitching this for my youngest because she's obsessed with princesses. Her name begins with a P, so this is just perfect. My next WIP is The Badger by Daria Mastrakova. I hope I've said that right. I think this was a My Bobbin pattern that I bought a few years ago. It's so sweet. I think I have a thing, you know, for UK wildlife because I have a lot of patterns of it. I'm stitching this on 32 count Paul Stitches even weave, and I think this colour's called Stormy Skies. It really is washing the colours out today, and they just look so much darker. So there's where I am at. I've actually done quite a lot of him, but as with a lot of the patterns off of My Bobbin, there's a lot of back stitch to go on. And then obviously all the background. I think the background's half stitch, so just a bit here, but I feel like it'll look nice on this fabric. I did go through a stage when I discovered colourful fabrics, of stitching everything on colourful fabrics. I have now gone back to neutrals. But I have a lot of WIPs on colourful fabrics that I still want to finish. It's interesting watching your tastes change. Like when I'm looking at all of these things of, you know, the things that I was stitching on in 2022 and the things I was stitching on in 2024, I can see it changing and then going back, and yeah, it's interesting. My next WIP is Sweet Wing Studio and it's called Crown Him. This one came up on my Instagram and I instantly bought it. It is beautiful. However, my start is a very sad start. 32 count Belfast Winter Moon / Soft Cream. Hi. How bad is that? That's all that I stitched. I was watching, oh, what was the show? Some silly trashy show about age difference, a dating show with an age difference kind of thing, and I stitched this whilst watching it, and then I must have just thought I'm going to start something else, or I was too distracted, I'm not sure, but I remember watching it and stitching this, but this is all that I did. It's a really beautiful pattern, and it probably wouldn't even take that long to stitch. It's embarrassing that that's all I did. I love Sweet Wing Studio. Their patterns are just precious. This next one I'm not going to dawdle about on for too long, because I spoke about it on my last Flosstube quite a lot, and I did get a lot of opinions on it, which I did read, and I have taken a lot of it on board, but I am still stuck. And I'm just wondering about restarting this. This is the Cathedral Advent black work. I can't remember the name of the designer of this. Is it Circle Cross? Maybe. And you can't really see on the cover photo that I've printed out. It's hard to really make it out. But I wanted to do a black work, and I wanted it big, and then I saw this and I was like, oh my gosh, that's the one, I'm starting that. So I did on 32 count white, antique white linen. But as I said on my last video, which is why I'm not going to go into it too much, I don't know if it's just too busy. You can't see what it is. Much like on this picture, you can't make out what it is. In real life, you can't really, I don't think. So I don't know that I'm going to finish that. I think I have, after my last video I did talk about it, and a few people said to just keep going and it might be alright, but I've got a pretty big feeling of no, stop it. But I don't have the heart to pull it all out and, you know, be done with it. So I'm probably just going to sit on it for a little bit longer. But thank you for everyone that did give me advice on that. Anyway, I was in the mood for some black work. Everybody that follows me will know that I have a bit of an unhealthy obsession with the Tudors, specifically Catherine of Aragon. And for ages, I kept going back and forth on this black work pattern. It's Mary Hickmott black work. This is on Etsy. You can get these on Etsy. I kept going back and forth, and I'm like, oh, I don't know if it even looks that good. The cover photos don't look great. Anyway, I decided to give it a go, and I got some 16 count Rustico Ada. I did post on Instagram some fabric advice of which ones, and I ended up settling on the Ada. My partner Kieran helped me choose it. He said that it's nice because it's light. The others were a bit darker, and he said although the others, the colours look more old and worn, this Rustico Ada is light and it lets the stitching do the talking. So in the end, that's what I went for, and this is what I've done so far. I've purposely left her face off because I want that to be the treat at the end. Oh, she's incredible, isn't she? This gives me a headache doing black work. Look at her. It does hurt my head. I actually, the first night that I did it, I did some stuff here and then I did some stuff here, and I ended up doing it wrong, so I picked the whole lot out. And then I read the instructions again, and it said do the outline first, and then it's just filling. So then I went, unpicked it all, and I did that. I just did the outline first. Oh, and that's such the right thing to do. If you're doing black work, do the outline first, because it really is just filling in. I was trying to stitch it like as if it was a normal pattern, and I was struggling to make sense of it. But once you've done the outline and it's filling, it's so repetitive. like this section here is the same pattern as this one here, but if you do all these little squares first and then you're just doing the lines across after, it's hard for me to wonder if that makes sense or not, but when you're stitching it, it does make sense, because you break it down into like layers. So there's layers of all these little squares, then there's layers of diagonal lines through it, and then there's layers of diagonal lines this way, and it's so satisfying to stitch, but it does give me a bit of a headache. So that's Catherine of Aragon. I love her. The reason that we're all stitching. The rumour is she brought black work over from Spain when she came over, and then cross stitch came from that. So thank you, Catherine. Somebody on here is probably smarter than me, is going to correct me on that or tell me something better, which please do, you're welcome to. I like to learn. Next up, this has been marked with highlighter on the front. Elizabeth Needlework Designs Antique Autumn Sampler. I have shown this quite a few times before. Using the called for colours on Mad Hatter's Tea Towel, 32 count. It's an absolutely beautiful fabric. I just don't really pick this up, to be honest. I think I've miscounted something in here, but I've decided to just do the border all the way around, and then I can just work off the border and I'll meet the mistake in the middle. You won't be able to tell. My next WIP is Enchanted Aurora by Joan Elliott. There's a story to this one. If you watched my last video, you will know. I was inspired by Helen at the Diddy Stitcher, who stitched, I think it was a Mirabilia she stitched, and she only stitched the top half of it and then had this frame that like went around, and it looked absolutely incredible. And I thought, oh, I want to do that. I've got Enchanted Aurora and I've only done the top half, I haven't done the bottom half, so I'm going to do that. So that's what I will be stitching on her, this, and I'm hoping to find a frame that kind of goes over like a semicircle or maybe in a bit of a point, I'm not sure. Anyway, on my last video I said, oh, I did think about doing that but I don't want to do it anymore, and then I held it up and I went, oh, I've already cut my fabric off, I'm going to have to do it now. How embarrassing. This is a 28 or a 32 count pole stitches, and I cannot remember the colour. I have chopped my fabric, so I've got no option but to stick with my idea, which is to finish it here. So this stitching's not going to be seen. I just need to stitch a little bit here, and then the rest of the I'll then back stitch. I have no option but to stick with what I suggested because I have cut this fabric. I don't know why I made such a rash decision like that, but I did. I should have just left it on and stitched that top half and then decided, but for some reason I didn't. I was obviously feeling spicy that day. Anyway, here she is. She's got no back stitch on her face, so she looks a bit odd, as does that owl, but she is beautiful. This fabric really is just being washed out. What on earth is going on? We've got a bit of sunshine coming in now. Anyway, I have no option but to only stitch half of her now. Come to my YouTube channel where I make silly mistakes and choices that I later regret. Next WIP is my full coverage. It's my first full coverage, like my first big full coverage, and it is Moonlit Bears. That is the really scruffy looking piece of paper now that came with it. Artwork is by Sheena Pike. This is charted by Charting Creations, using all the called for colours. 28 count easy grid 2/110 stitch, and this is where I am at. I have put some into this. It's absolutely incredible, absolutely incredible. I'd love to work on this more. The problem that I have, and I think I said this on my last video, that if I sat and did 6 hours on this, you won't be able to tell I did 6 hours on it. And when you don't get 6 hours, like, you know, if I'm getting an hour here and there, it's not gonna, I feel like this needs to be saved for when I start getting solid stitching time, which is be no time, not anytime soon. I have 3 young kids. There is a mark on it, I don't know what it is. It's when it was folded and something marked and went through, but it will be, if it's not going to be covered, in fact that one won't be covered, but you won't see the fabric. Whenever it's framed, it's going to be, you know, framed all the way tight to the picture. I think this is on 13%, but it's absolutely incredible. The last time I had it out, I went in and I filled loads of random gaps, which was really satisfying to like just close those gaps. I think from here, that's completely done. I don't think there's any gaps in there now. There's still a couple here. I want to learn how to do parking, but I just don't understand it. You know, are people just doing 1 stitch of that colour then leaving their thread and threading their needle like 1,000,000 times an hour? Surely not. I need to look it up really and see what it is and how you do it, and if it's something that I could do. Because it looks really nice seeing it coming, you know, coming to life in lines. I really like how that looks. I think that's probably one of my more special whips, that. Because it is such a big, I would call it breathtaking, that. And it's only this section, so there's so much more to come. It's beautiful. What I want to do is order the threads. Like I've got a thread list for it, and I want to specifically order 1 of each of them and keep it with it, rather than, well, what I've done is some of the colours I've got on Flosstubes, but it's nowhere near all of the colours, and I don't like to go into my master DMC set and take off loads of them to fill up these Flosstubes. I feel like I might as well buy 1 of each of the colours, because it's got so much stitching in it, I'm going to use them, aren't I? So rather than going into my master set and depleting it to have to just refill it, I might as well skip that, because whatever I buy for Moonlit Bears is going to be used on Moonlit Bears. Do you know? Does that make sense? Next up is Wings by Just Nan. And this was 80p. Your sticker's still on there, you can see. 80p in the charity shop. It just looked like a pretty enough pattern, but when you look closely, it's, oh, I love this so much. It's such an intricate pattern. I'm stitching this on 28 count oyster shell linen from, oyster shell is Fibre on a Whim, is it? I'll have to double check that, I think it is. And this is what I've done. The beads I have subbed out for my own beads, but all the colours are the called for, and there's some specialty stitching, there's some 1/1 stitching, and I really should pull this out because it's a very, very beautiful pattern. I don't know why I haven't pulled it back out, to be honest. And I love that fabric. It never shows up well on a picture or on these videos, but oyster shell, if you can get yourself a piece of oyster shell, it's really beautiful. It's like a purple grey. Oh, it's showing up all right on there. I love that colour. My next whip is another Luca S kit. This is the Guardians of the Forest. I'm stitching this on all the kit, with all the kit things. So the Ada, which is a 16 count white Ada, and the threads. It's a beautiful pattern. It's 8 pages of pattern, and I've almost finished 1 page. But it is mostly half stitch on that page, so I can't really take any credit for being brilliant and fast. It was incredibly satisfying stitching this because it was mostly half stitch and very blocky. there's just a little bit inside that ear and a little bit at the top of that ear to do, and then there's one page done. I've never in my life completed a page like this. I've always moved into the next before I've finished. So I was quite proud of that. Quite a biggish piece. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm sure it's 8. Anyway, so that is Guardians of the Forest. Lucaresque kits are so good. I really, really do love them. The artwork on them is beautiful. Even just the information that you get on the front of them, telling you the skill level, the size, that you can have it PDF and Saga, how many colours, the fabric, what type of stitches are in. They're just such good kits. Really, really nice kits. My next WIP is Seasons by the Sea by Jeanette Douglas. So some people stitch these individually. There's Summer by the Sea, Winter, Autumn and Spring. I'm stitching all 4 together, which some people also do, on 32 count antique white linen, and I have completed Summer by the Sea without beads and without the charm, and I have made a start on Autumn by the Sea, which is this one. I am going to stitch all 4 together, which is what some people do as well. So I'm leaving all the beads till the end and the charms till the end, because each corner has got 1 charm, I believe. These are incredible patterns. All the threads are fancy threads, and it's not just one brand of thread. There's all different ones I've never even heard of. Oh, they're amazing. I could sit and look at this all day, and those little fish, 1/1 fish, incredible. And I cannot remember the name of this. It frazzled my brain a little bit stitching that, but it looks really good, doesn't it? And I love the effect of this. I don't think it's going to capture it on the camera really. I need to... Oh wait, that sunlight's reflecting it a bit. Oh, it's going to look so good with beads on. I do love that. My lovely friend Michelle, which actually she's more family than a friend. I see her as a family member now. Been friends for a very long time. She bought me that as a gift, which was so nice. My next WIP is October 31 Cottage Garden Samplings. I started this when I was going through my 40 count colourful fabric era, which I'm not in anymore. I posted this on Instagram the other day because I actually put a couple threads in it and everybody was loving the fabric. But I can't stitch on it. It was so difficult. All I've got left is to fill in this pumpkin. That's all I've got left, but it's so hard. I can barely see what I'm doing. It does look nice on this fabric though, doesn't it? I don't think I'd ever stitch anything on this fabric again. But it does look nice. It looks effective. I just need to fill that pumpkin in. And I can't do it. Maybe I need some magnifying glasses. Or just glasses. From sounds of it, I think I might just need some glasses. Up is CEWEC. I don't know if you pronounce that. Or if it's just an abbreviation. But it's Trolls. Everybody loved it. When I started this, everybody was wanting this pattern. It's a vintage pattern though, so you can't really get it. I know a couple of people did actually find another copy on eBay. I felt so lucky when I found this. I found it as a complete kit, but I didn't use the kit thread or fabric. I actually think I sent it. Did I send it to someone? Because I wasn't going to use it. I can't remember. But anyway, I have started this on 36 count Pictures Plus in colour Sand. I'm stitching it one thread, but I've just not picked it up because I'm not into really stitching one strand anymore. That fabric looks a lot more dramatic, as they all have today. I'm going to have to work out my new stitching position or my lighting, but this is what I got done so far on him, or on her. I think that's the lady troll. It is a lovely pattern, but we've seen that quite a lot of times, so I won't dwell on that. I just haven't picked it up because it's on 36. I've got my working copy of Little House Needlework Soft and Sweet. I've used my own colours for this. I started this a couple of years ago. I found the patterns on eBay. There was somebody on eBay. I wonder if she's still on there actually. At the time she said she was selling her grandmother's stash, but she had like 800 listings and she listed every day, and I thought, are you sure you're listing someone's stash, or are you actually just a second-hand seller? Which is fine, but I did anyway. This is my star on 28 count raw linen. The problem I've got, I used my own colours and didn't write them down, and I didn't keep the threads in my pouch. I know what colour the pink is, I know what colour the purple is, because I'm weird and I just know DMC colours, but I need to work out what the white is and what the green is so that I can finish that. And I did have another one, that's Soft and Sweet. Did I have Kind and Gentle maybe? I can't remember. So my next WIP I am really excited about. The lovely people at Craft Paradise reached out and asked if they could send me a kit of my choice. So I said, oh yeah, I have a huge wish list on your website, yes please. So I chose a Letty Stitch kit, which I don't think I've had a Letty Stitch kit before. This is Goddess of the Autumn. Oh, isn't she perfect? They have a whole collection of these. We have Spring, Summer, Autumn, Winter, and also Goddess of the Moon, which is like purpley darks. And they're so all of them are so beautiful, but me and my autumnal colours and my fox obsession, it had to be this one. So anyway, they sent me this, which was so kind. I couldn't believe my luck. I was like, me? Are you sure? Yes, please. I floss dropped all of their flosses because it came on, they came on these cards. And I don't know what to do with working threads when I pull them out. I wasn't sure, do I just pull it? Does it pull all of them out? Or, and then if it pulls all of them out, in fact, let me try it with one of these little scraps. Oh, I can't get that out at all. Surely they don't pull out of there. Anyway, I thought, I don't know what to do with them. So I've left a little tail on each one so that I can colour match if anything gets mixed up. But the threads, the pattern, just everything about this kit I am in love with. So I definitely want to buy some more Letty Stitch kits. Anyway, let's get to the exciting bit. This is 16 count white Ada, which is what it came with, and since I started it I have just not put it down. I started it a couple of days ago and this is where I'm at. Look how creased it is. I did iron this, obviously not well enough. There's no back stitch on her yet, and she has got a lot of back stitch on her. She's a big girl. Oh, I just can't put it down. Do you know when you start something and you just can't stop stitching it? I love it so much, and it's so nice to stitch on Ada. I mean, it's full coverage, so you won't see the fabric at the end anyway. Not that that matters, but I always think with white Ada in kits, sometimes it can be a bit crispy looking, and sometimes it can look a bit too white. but it's just so nice to stitch on Ada. These colours are not as vibrant as they should be. Is that a bit better there? Oh, I love her so much. I really want to keep stitching on her. When I thought about filming my floss tube this morning, I thought, oh, I could just stitch on her all day instead. Isn't she perfect though? I'm so glad that I got to choose the kit that I wanted as well, because I always think when people get sent kits for free, I always think like, oh, what if they don't like what they get sent? What do they do? Like, do they just stitch it out of guilt? Because I would. So when I got to choose, I was like, oh, really? Really? I know exactly what I'm going to choose. I just love it. They did say as well that I can have a discount code so that I can get 15% off if I use it, or other people can, which is Wolfy. So WOLFY. I've tried it in capital letters and it worked. I don't know if it needs to be in capital letters though. I've never had it like that before. It's very exciting. That's it. I can quit working now because someone sent me a free pattern. Or free kit even. That's it. I'm basically rich. It was so exciting for me. Anyway, there we are. She's so beautiful. I love her. I can't wait to put her on the fox wall. So yes, thank you Craft Paradise. That's their website. They're based in the UK and they've got all your really nice cross stitch kits, and they sell, I was looking on there the other day at the Ada because I was thinking of getting some for some of the other patterns I've got to stitch up, but I'm excited now because anything I do buy I get 15% off, and anybody else does if they want to use it as well. So I'll show some finishes, which are, first of all, I made this little bag for myself. I won't show any of the stuff that I've done. I've been learning to sew or teaching myself to sew, and I've sewn quite a lot of stuff, like a dress for my little girl, a teddy, some bags. But I was excited about this little, it's got all my cross stitch stuff in, so I can show it because it's got cross stitching. I had to go at like quilting, not quilting, patchwork. I don't know what this is called. Anyway, it's cute. But with my sewing machine, I finished this. So actually this stitching is not mine. This is Kieran's stitching. We did some stitching together. He came to my stitching group and he stitched this little, it was a bookmark kit, and I got my sewing machine and I was looking through all the finishes and I saw that and I thought, oh, I might finish that into like a little pillow. Anybody with good eyes is going to notice this fabric is upside down because look at this anchor. What I've sewn on, hand sewn on, I didn't try and put that through my machine, these little bits of shell from days out that we've had. And yeah, just turn it into this little, it's a bit messy, into this little pillow that sits on one of our bookshelves. I think that's dead cute, that. Something else that I finished was this. So this is a little pattern that I designed and it's just a free one. You can just download that for free off my Coffee or Ko-fi shop. I am thinking about putting these onto Instagram if I can work out how to do a little picture of it, but I thought I'd just finish this into, it is meant to be, I did cut it so this is quite a bit longer than that, but then I've attached that and now it looks like I've just done it wrong sizes. But anyway, I thought that was quite cute. It just sits on my bookshelf. Next up was a new start and a finish all in one day. So everyone's been stitching the Uni-C stitch kits. I think that's how you say it. And I got this one, which is the Stingray. I love this from start to finish. It's absolutely incredible. I have bought another one of these kits. I have bought the turtle. I wanted the turtle, crab and stingray, but only the stingray was the only one in stock. Look at it. Oh. And when people say like, oh, the camera doesn't do this justice, it really doesn't. Like, I just cannot get over how beautiful this is. I did take a really nice picture at the weekend when we went to the coast. I took a picture of it. Whoops. Oh, it is so good. I love it. The next one I've ordered is a turtle because the crab's still not in stock. And I just can't wait. Everything here is included in the kit. Everything. So you can buy one of these kits, and it was only £9.50. I got it from Talking Dog Stitcher. You can buy one of these kits and you don't need to dig into your stash for nothing. You can just sit and stitch it. That's the back that it comes with. That invisible thread is horrid. I don't want to stitch with that ever again. It was so difficult. But anyway, there's my stingray. Love him. My next finish is, I actually finished this last year, but I fully finished it. This is off of Etsy, and I'm pretty sure it's just a pattern mill. I don't think it's a proper designer, which I didn't know at the time, so I won't link the shop. But I bought this box at the Range, and I think it was like £1.50. And you're supposed to put a photo in it, so I finished it with that in it, and I made these little velvety inserts. I did forget to pin this inside rim, but no one's going to see that, so it's a little box. I just keep my scissors and measuring tape in it. But I thought it was quite a nice way to finish that. And I know it's very gold on gold on gold, but yeah, it makes me happy. Now, I can't remember if I showed these finishes on my last video, so I'm just going to run through them now. There's 3 of them. The first one is Highland Scene by Anchor. And this is my finish. It should go here, but I decided to cut it short because I was really bored of stitching on it. And I think the picture looks complete enough without it. It does start there. It's really beautiful. I should have put that on. What am I doing? I should have put it on here, shouldn't I? There we go. It's really beautiful. Oh, I do love that. I really want to get this framed to go in my house. And that was stitched on with all the kit threads, and I just swapped out the Ada for 32 count Belfast linen. Next up is an RTO kit of Salt, Wind and Sea. Used all the kit threads, the kit fabric, everything. And this is my finish. It's on 16 count Ada. Isn't it perfect? Look at his reflection. I feel like I might have shown this on the last one because I'm sure I remember saying look at his little reflection. But anyway, you can have a look at him again. I love that so much. I love RTO kits. They're so good. This one has definitely not been shown because I only recently finished this. So this is a Dimensions kit. It might be the Petite collection. In fact, it is Morning Lake. I've used all the kit threads, but I swapped out the Ada for 32 count white linen. I went through a stage of stitching everything on that, and now I don't like it, but anyway, it doesn't matter. This is Morning Lake. Oh, it's so beautiful. Those colours are incredible, aren't they? It looks like a photograph. See, I start a lot of things, but I do finish some things. Those colours are just perfect. I want to be there. I want to be here. I love this. And you know, I stitched it, and all I had left, I purposely left the whole house, and I had a perfect outline of the cabin. But when I was stitching the cabin, it really took a lot. I was sat there, I took it to my stitching group, and I was sat there and I was going, I can't stitch on this. I am so bored of stitching on this. I am sick of stitching this cabin. I can't finish this. Da 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 da. And Jan, who sits next to me, said, just stop it and finish it. Anyway, I'm so glad I did, because oh, it's beautiful. I'm so proud of that. I'm so proud of that. Okay, next is this one. So I stitched I finished it last year, I think. Shannon Christine Designs Koi Pond. I stitched it on ice blue 28 count even weave, which I hate that fabric. I would never stitch on that again because it's not blue enough to look blue, but it's too blue to look white. Anyway, irrelevant. I've framed it. There's no words. There are no words for this. No words are good enough to describe this. It's not going to show up as good as it does in real life, but I am just in love with this. There's just no words. I've said that so many times, but honestly, like the beads, I did sub the beads out. I did not use the called for beads because I could not afford the called for beads. There were so many of them and they was very expensive. I don't know if it's just because I'm in the UK and not wherever. I think this design is she from Canada? I can't remember. Anyway, I just used beads from Stash. I used all the called for colours, I believe. But yeah, for ages I didn't have a frame and I couldn't think what frame to do it in, and then when we moved I found this frame, so I painted it gold and popped it in, and yeah, I actually have it on display in the living room, and I use these sticky back Velcro things to attach it, and normally I stick them up with it and I never really take them down, so even though you can, anyway, I've popped it completely off the wall, so I have to get a new sticker for that. But anyway, there we go, Koi Pond by Shannon Christine Designs. And then we've got a big finish. This was not finished last time, or was it finished last time? I don't know. But this is Heartstring Samplery Justice, Words to Live by Justice. And it's going to just reflect the lights in the window, because there's a big window there, so it's not going to show up very well, but I have framed this. Oh yeah, look at that. You can see outside and everything. The thread is a DMC colorist. I cannot remember the name, the number. I think it's 1405, but I will have to check that. I do have it written on Instagram, but that is my finish. I'm trying to turn it so you can see it. I don't normally finish things behind glass, so I'm not sure why I have finished this behind the glass, because I normally take the glass out. But anyway, this is on the wall in my hallway so that everyone that comes in can read it, and everybody that's in the house before they leave the house can read it. I love it. It's very special. Very, very special. And then the next thing that I'd like to show you is not a finish of mine, but someone I am friends with sadly lost someone in their family. So when they were clearing that person's house out, his wife, who he had lost a while ago, was a cross stitcher, and she had lots of stitching on her walls, and my friend was helping clear all the things, and she said she saw this and thought of me and wondered if I would like it. She did say there's no pressure if you don't want it, da da da, and I was thinking, oh gosh, I wonder what it is. So I have to like pretend like I'm really grateful and like turn her down gently, like, because the way she was setting it up with me, like, you don't have to if you don't want to, da da da. Anyway, then she presented me with this, And I thought, I don't have to take it. Are you joking? Are you sure I can have this? Are you sure? I can't believe somebody would want me to have this. It's so beautiful. What do you mean I get to have this in my house forever now? Really? Oh, and it's such beautiful stitching. It is a bit dirty because it's older. It was stitched in 2006 and it has got marks from over the years. Like, obviously where it's been folded, then over the years it becomes a bit more prominent, doesn't it? So you can see the halfway fold, and there are some of those little bugs up here. Is it there? Yeah, there and there and there. But I'm not bothered, not at all, because I am so privileged to be able to have this. And I hope the lady that stitched this, wherever she may be now, is looking down thinking, my stitching is going to be loved for a lot longer, because it is. This is hanging in my house for the rest of my life. And, you know, it may well move down the line with my children. I'm so glad that my friend thought of me and it didn't just get popped into a charity shop, because it's so precious. I feel excited just looking at it. I think, I can't believe how lucky I got being gifted this. Oh, it's just wonderful. I could just look at it all day. Oh, anyway, I'll keep going on and on and on about that. It doesn't live here. I just popped it here for this video. So the last thing I'm going to do is show some planned new starts. I have done an Owl Forest embroidery order of threads. So I have some thread packs coming for a couple of kits. The first one is the pumpkin colour, which is a free one on their website, but I have ordered the threads for this off of them. I've got a piece of fibre on a whim 32 count cappuccino to stitch it on. I'm really looking forward to that. The next thing I've got kitted up is something from a magazine, Feathered Friends, and it makes this little like bird feeder. It is so cute. That's another view of it. It's so sweet. I've kitted it up with the threads. These little floss drops. A long time ago, I do painting. Well, I don't now. I don't really paint now much at all. I don't really get time. But a long time ago, I wanted to be an artist, and I did some paintings and made them into prints and things. And I had a couple of A4 sheets where I've tried printing out a picture of my painting onto card, and I found them when I was moving, and I thought, what a shame they're just stuck in here. I might use them for floss drops. So I've got loads of floss drops across all my things now, and it's all these little robins. Anyway, I've got a piece of fibre on a whim 32 count milk and honey to stitch that on. The next WIP I've got planned is the Owl Forest embroidery chaffinches, which is just so sweet. And I've got fibre on a whim 32 count latte linen to stitch that on. I have got the threads coming from Owl Forest for that one as well. The next new start I have planned is a Joan Elliott, and it's Artemis. Another foxy one. I love this because it's like a fancy lady, but there's no like pink and purple and glitz about her. She's got all the foresty animals around her. She's got the moon. She's not wearing any kind of girly colours, and I just fell in love with her. Absolutely fell in love with her. I did order this fabric, which is Fallen Leaves by Paul Stitches, but when it arrived it was wildly not like that, which I know is the nature of hand-dyed fabric. I know they don't always look exactly like the computer, but I have returned it, and I'm getting a piece of spun gold instead, So she will be stitched on spun gold, and I've got all of her threads here. I'm really excited to start her. Another planned new start. I actually had this out the other night to start and I never did. I've got a piece of 16 count vintage country mocha Ada here, which is really lovely. And this vintage kit that I'd picked up on, I think I picked this up on eBay or Vinted, and it's for this one. These are all things that are ready to start. I have obviously got a big old stash of patterns. The next new start I've got planned is another owl forest, and it's speckled hen. I have got the threads on the way for this. And I've actually got this fabric, which is a 32 count linen, and it's in a greeny colour. But I'm not 100% sold on that. I saw it and I thought, that might go quite nice on there. I forgot the name of this colour actually. But am I going to regret that? I'm not sure. I'm not 100%. I think if I'm not 100%, I shouldn't do it. The next one I have got is Sunflower Houses by Owl Forest. I have got the threads coming for this. I thought I had the fabric picked out, but I've got it in this file without the fabric, so I must not have. And I've also got the Swamp Witch in the same file, which is strange because I thought I had the fabric for her as well. I have the threads coming for her, but I wonder what I've done with those fabrics. I maybe sat them somewhere else. My next kitted up, ready to go, is Diana Bloom Designs Nesting Northern Lapwing. Look at this. Ugh. It's so cute. I have picked out Fox and Rabbit 32 count Dust Bunny, and these are the colours. That is completely ready to go. I just need to pop it in a frame and put some stitches in. The last new start I've got planned is this vintage Lunate kit that I've picked up off of Vinted. It's really sweet, really sweet. These are the threads and the thread holders, the fabric that it came with, the chart's one of those little hand-drawn photocopied types. But I think I'm going to get my own fabric because that fabric feels a little bit old. So that's that. It's very sweet. If you've made it all the way to the end, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed seeing my excessive amount of new starts and stitching. I am hoping to be able to stick to a schedule now that I've moved and life's settled. I am hoping to be able to stick to monthly updates. Thank you for watching.